This has to be the one. It has to be. Oh God, it has to be the one. It has to be.
A few moments later.
All right, maybe that wasn't the one. Passionates, how are you, my beloveds? How has your week been thus far? For me, it's been wild, but every day is an adventure in this mini series I call life. So what else is new? For those of you who are all up to date on the episodes and wondering about the post-gas leak follow-up, the issue was not resolved after the forced entry. The Cliff Notes version is that the rain the following week prompted me to close the windows, which caused the still leaking, and yes, I said still leaking gas to build back up. So a parade of employees later and a toddler-sized hole in two walls found the gas to be leaking from the main line. So there's still so much more to deal with, but I just wanted to keep you posted about what's going on behind the scenes, and thank you for your concern. In the meantime, it's about to be coquito season, and I'm still working on getting the kitchen back together so I can get busy with that. So, yes, there's a lot going on. Yes, there's about to be more going on. Yes, you will still get the same quality content because the options are go hard or go home, win or win, succeed or succeed, okay? But the season is winding down so that I can make some tweaks behind the scenes, do the other things that I have slated for the rest of the year, and of course, so I can curate the content for season 2. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, I'm still making the same quality coquitos, so definitely pull up on me for orders. All right, let's jump into it. Last week, we talked about starting the episodes on the highest possible frequency. So I'm going to do a few quick affirmations before diving into the subject matter. I really need this. And so you're welcome to repeat after me or take this time to state your own affirmations. It is well. I am well. All is well. It is well. I am well. All is well. I am whole. I am healing, and my presence is healing to others. My intentions are pure. My actions are intentional. My steps are ordered. I am protected. I am aligned with self. I am aligned with source. I am operating in divine timing. All is as it should be. It is well. I am well. All is well. Ashe, ashe, ashe. And for those of you who don't know what ashe means it is so or so shall it be. There are other spiritual definitions, but this ain't the episode for that. So today's episode was inspired by a feedback conversation that I was having regarding episode 5, which was knowing your worth. So the conversation starts out with a person, and we'll call them storyteller, asking me if I know my worth. And then they tell me the story of the first time they heard that expression. So one of their friends, we'll call them friend, had left a job and was applying other places. Now, the fact that friend left their job of their own volition, but without something else lined up, was already enough to get storyteller all up in arms and on the horn to their confidant. So they say, confidant, we got to pray for friend. Friend done up and left their job. Confidant is a prayer warrior. So you send out the prayer request, the bat signal. Confidant is going to the wailing wall, okay? So on the next update, friend tells storyteller, one of the places responded with a nice offer of like $75,000. Storyteller is hype for friend. For one, this is in a time when $75,000 was bread. And not that it's something to sneeze at now, but at the time, it was money. So storytellers put in the battery in friend's back like, that's great. You gotta take it. Friend is like, yeah, nah, that ain't it. So storyteller is baffled, like, these people are offering you how much and you willing to risk that? You're bugging. So storyteller reaches out to confidant again and says, now we really got to pray for friend. Friend just turned down this kind of offer. Now I know something is wrong with them. Confidant is on it. They get to praying. Friend gets an offer close to 6 figures and storyteller is now completely floored. Friend accepts the offer. Friend then explains to storyteller that they knew their worth, which is why they wouldn't settle for the previous offer. Storyteller learned an important lesson from that, but that's still not what we're going to talk about today. Do y'all watch the Song to Yourself Saturday videos? Like, I know I got to do a better job of posting them on all of my platforms, but they're definitely posted every Saturday on the gram. Anyway, on the at They Call Me Passion page. Anyway, this week, the song choice was I Say a Little Prayer, done by both Dionne Warwick and Aretha Franklin. If you don't know the song, you're already here. You might as well research it. Anyway, the PSA at the end, I shared why I chose that song. I chose that song because I think that it would be dope if so many more of us woke up and our first thought was of self and source. So many of us, we never pray at all. So many of us, when we do pray, we spend so much time praying for everybody else. We forget about praying for ourselves. And when we do pray for ourselves, our prayers are not that consistent. She said, the moment I wake up, before I put on my makeup, when I'm running for the bus, when I'm riding on the bus, all through my workday, on my break, I say a little prayer for you. How many times a day do you pray for yourself? How many times a day do you say to Source, do you say to God, lead me, guide me, direct me, order my steps? I thank God that I am in alignment with self. How many times are you saying that prayer? Maybe you're not, maybe you are, I don't know. But I just felt like this particular song, this is it. That's how much you should be praying for yourself all the time. Speaking over yourself all the time. Affirming yourself all the time. So I'm going to leave you with that. Passion is if you are someone who goes to any kind of house of worship, and I say that generally because I don't believe this is limited to churchgoers, but if you are a regular in the assembly, I'm sure you've known someone who said to you, say a prayer for me, or pray for me. You might be the person who's requested that prayer be sent up for you. You may have gone on the interwebs in your hour of need and put up a post requesting prayer. And while one may say it jokingly, say a prayer for me when you go to church, another asks with expectancy that the collective voice being raised on their behalf will reach the throne of mercy and be received at the seat of grace. But passion is if you're asking others to pray for you, are you also praying for yourself? And I know someone's looking at their screen right now and thinking that's the dumbest question that they ever heard. One of the dumbest questions I've ever heard is, what's the number to 911? So, balance. The point is, at the time that we make a request for prayer, some of us are so consumed with what's going on, we're not able to pray for ourselves. And that's why we enlist the assist from the prayer warriors around us. But are you praying regularly? Are you praying consistently? Are you praying fervently? Are your prayers pointed and specific? And I'm not talking about the performance prayer that some people feel they have to do to emulate their local evangelist. And there's no shade to any evangelist and the prayer warriors in the church. I definitely did a post about prayer not being a competition sport for this exact reason. I'm talking about solid, open, honest communication with God, with Source, with the divine, with the great I am. You know why I ask this? Because some of the people that are praying for us, they're praying with the most loving intentions and with the purest hearts. And they are praying us right out of our blessings. I'm willing to bet money that you never thought that when you said no weapon formed against me shall prosper, that you'd be talking about the prayers of your loved ones. But words are weapons, no? I mean, they can be. Every day, people use words to tear others down. They call each other names. They judge. They condemn. They give unsolicited and rude opinions and then call themselves brutally honest. Every day, people lie. So we've established that every day, people use words in the worst possible ways. And we know that if someone is using something as a means of attacking, endangering, destroying, or inflicting harm, even the most harmless thing can now be classified as a weapon, yes? And if you're still saying no at this point, perhaps you need to do some research into how much legal trouble a threat can get you into. And when you do that, remember that threats are generally not made with gestures. They're made with words, right? So These are the same words we use when we pray. No, it's not, because I wouldn't use those kind of words when I'm praying. Okay, but either way, God is always listening, right? So no matter what words you're using and when, God hears, right? Not the point. Back to the lecture at hand. Even the most harmless or well-intentioned words can become weaponized when they're not in alliance, in alignment, or agreement with the person or situation they're being spoken over. The most innocent observation about someone's weight can feel like an attack on their outward appearance. A criticism intended to be constructive could send someone reeling down a path of devastation. The same is true of prayer. Now let's go back to our example. Storyteller was always and absolutely rooting for friend's success. Storyteller wanted friend to be okay. They wanted friend to be able to eat and sustain themselves and just not be in a bad way. So of course storyteller thought friend was already like having some kind of mental break when friend decided to walk away from what friend felt either didn't serve them or didn't honor their true value. The issue begins here because storyteller and friend weren't in alignment about worth, wealth, or exchange from go. Storyteller was approaching it from a survivalist perspective, while friend was approaching it from a value perspective. I come to the table with these skills and as an asset. We pay for assets. We invest in assets. We don't try to barter down anything we feel is deserving of the price tag placed on it. You can pay me what I'm willing to accept, or you can continue looking for someone that matches my caliber and is willing to settle. Storyteller had not reached that point within self, so explained or not, and we're going to take a couple seconds with that because that's big. Storyteller was not going to see it from friend's perspective. You can never make someone who fears scarcity or lack understand why you don't. And part of that comes from a bigger fear that if you do find yourself without, you'll turn to them for help. They ain't gonna clap for that. So from storyteller's fear and limitations, storyteller calls in reinforcements to get the call through to God to ensure a change in friend's mind. Friend was praying for increase while storyteller was unintentionally praying for boundaries and limitations for friend to be held back by storyteller's same fear and lack-based thinking and didn't even realize it. Nah, passion, that's cap. That's not what storyteller was doing. Two things. One, remember I said storyteller called confidant and said they thought friend was losing their mind because they quit. Two, storyteller's intention and storyteller's results are different things. So if friend isn't praying and affirming and believing for the desires of friend's heart, someone else is praying for the desires of their own heart to be friend's portion. Come on and teach passion. You're talking right. Same thing when friend gets the offer for 75 grand. If storyteller was praying for friend's mind to be changed so friend could see the error of their ways and friend gets this offer, it is reasonable to believe that this was the answer to storyteller's prayers, right? An offer friend couldn't refuse, which should get their mind back on track. But again, this is fear-based, lack-minded thinking. 75,000 is a lot of money. You can do A, B, and C. You already fell and bumped your head leaving the other job. Now you want to risk passing up this offer? And so when that type of coercion didn't work, it was to throw the bat signal back up, head back to the wailing wall, and get busy because now storyteller is convinced that friend has lost their mind or is having some kind of break. Meanwhile, friend is working their faith and proving God. And somebody is still arguing, saying, passion, you wrong. Just because someone is not saying the same prayer as you doesn't mean they're praying for you to fail. And while you are right in that, someone praying against the very thing you're praying for is not praying for you to succeed. Argue with yourself. It's not until friend gets the offer they're looking for that storyteller can fully come out of their prayer closet long enough to understand what friend has overstood all the while. I know my worth and I won't settle for anything less than that, even if I have to do without for a while. Passion is this concept is a very real thing and in all areas. Some of you been down and some of you just got here. A lot of the new arrivals came from the mantra reel. Super shouts to Michael 7 for creating that mantra. And I really hope that y'all are also supporting the single wherever he has it available, whether you're streaming it or you're purchasing it. Point is, while the overwhelming majority listened to that mantra, they heard the affirmations, they heard God being acknowledged, they heard the intention. There are some that heard witchcraft and crystals and the denouncing of God and everything else they imagined and are now ready to jail me in their self-created hell because they have decided that I have gone the way of the world. They don't know what my spiritual practices are. They don't know what I believe in, who I believe in, what I've studied to show myself approved, where I've studied, with whom I've studied, but they are coming to crusade in the comments. They are praying for my thinking to be as limited as theirs. They are praying for my beliefs to share the same boundaries as theirs. So if they're praying that in all I get understanding, they're hoping and believing that I'll get their understanding even if they misunderstand. And while they are praying for me to be led back into the folds of their confusion, if I'm not actively and just as feverishly praying to know the truth, because the truth is what makes us free, I could be swept right into their lack, limits, and hope over faith, which would mean that I would never reach you. They're praying for me to turn from my wicked ways, but my wicked ways are commanding, proving, and believing God, all from the same scripture they want to beat me with. And while that is their earnest prayer, I'm praying that my gift makes room for me. And it does. So now, someone's going to watch this episode and learn the power of speaking over self. Someone is going to watch this, reclaim their autonomy, and think twice about giving someone the authority to speak over their life. Someone is going to watch this and begin to question the power of words a little bit more. They'll examine their word choice a little more closely. They'll directly or further question what someone means when they say a thing, so the intention can't be misinterpreted or misconstrued. Someone will stop praying generally and be ever so specific in their supplication. Someone is going to ask for the exact partner that they want to build and spend the rest of their life with, and stop letting someone pray for them to remain trapped with this same no-goal having Dusty for the rest of eternity. Someone is going to pray specifically for the specific dollar amount from the specific job, working the specific hours, specific days, with their very specific terms being outlined in the contract. Someone will just listen and consider and put this away for another day. Whichever one you are, go forth, be great, be filled with bliss, be armed and empowered with knowledge. Pray for what you want, because whether you do or you don't, someone is definitely praying their will for you. In all things, be passionate. Later. I'll see you next week.